Hi, welcome. My name is Dale McCluskey, and on this video I'd like to talk about the issue of being objectified. Okay, what does that really mean? It's a really important issue because due to the type of connection at work and what's going on right now in society, it's the thing that I run into all the time. It's almost like every time it happens at some level, the dog owner is being objectified based on the type of relational alignment that is happening between dogs and owners. And so to understand this issue, you really, number one is you really got to understand the relational part of this. It's the most important part. What I show is dogs are relational beings. Okay, it's mind and body. They share a very deep and profound connection with us that goes beyond what most people understand or what most people realize. And it's like a magnet. I mean, they're pack animals, so it's part of their genetic code, so to speak, and it's part of a very important need they have is in the context of hierarchy. Okay, within it's relational. So therefore, through this connection, they really do get a sense of how we're thinking, so to speak, with the type of bond that we're establishing within the relationship. So of course we get dogs, to meet that need. We get dogs to meet our need. But the problem with that is when that level goes up too much. Or if a dog's need, this is the other issue, if a dog's need is extremely high, that's why, like say, pit bulls generally get a bad name because they're going to push that up into that level. But the end result is it still circles back to what we're doing. Because the emphasis really does fall on us to meet that need. So in saying that, you go back to getting a sense of this whole issue about being objectified. What you look at, because it almost aligns, I'll tell you, almost identically with the parenting model, with parenting children. If you look at the permissive parenting model, what you'll find is, through permissive parenting, is the whole issue of narcissism. With narcissistic or pathological narcissism, what you see with children is they start to objectify. They start to look at everything, people's objects, as an extension of themselves. Narcissistic, what's coined as narcissistic supply, but the result is a total lack of empathy. So there's no empathy, and what it is just like a feeling as though you're living with a robot. Okay, that's what it happens. There's a disconnect. But in the animal world, what you'll see is it parallels almost identically. Even the response that people have to dominance or leadership or parenting, it almost aligns exactly even that way too with how people respond to these issues or react. So it's very destructive. I mean, that's the bottom line, because in the end, the issue doesn't get fixed. Okay, just understand, above all else, in the end, the issue doesn't get fixed because it's what happens is it becomes a codependent type of relationship, but not for the good reasons. Okay, I mean, the dog owner that's being objectified sees it as love, even though it's possessiveness. They see it as love. So what happens is that's a supply source for them, so to speak, from that relationship. And it becomes very entrenched, and for the dog it becomes a supply source for them by empowering type of supply source, because relationally they own that person. And so that's why you'll see, for example, if you've ever experienced it, especially if a dog's elevated up, if I'm say holding a dog and that dog is being empowered to relationally at that time through that close contact, and another spouse or a person comes over to try to lead the dog's mind or put influence on the dog, they'll get bitten very quickly. Okay, because what's happening is that there's such a contrast between the two. Okay, it's like being empowered and trying to take away power. It's like it just ignites, and that's why if you even see it, if you think about it, you'll see it. You'll see that type of dynamic playing out. If the dog is with certain people, you could even be with children. And then, the interaction switches. Okay, it could be the child is, maybe trying to lead the dog's mind, or someone else is going over to take that dog out of. If the dog has even, say, a bone, okay, you see a dog possessing an object, because now what they're doing, it becomes a supply source, and then you try to move that dog a certain way, you'll get bitten. And this is very common, but what it is like it parallels almost exactly the same way. So the first goal is this whole thing with being objectified is getting a sense of, what level the dog owner is being objectified at. I mean, that's the whole kind of bridge building thing that's happening. And this is what this whole system here is built on, is understanding that. But the other issue is, people that are in this type of thinking, what it does is just like, again, the parenting model with this permissive parenting, the choices and decisions they make with how they parent, okay, it affects that as well, right? So the same thing happens with dog training. That's why this whole thing with positive-based methodology, why it bottoms out. In my new book coming out called Mind and Body Kinetics, I talk about this again at length about understanding why these ideas about learning theory break down, because it's the same thing as narcissism. Okay, this is pretty simple. If you're trying to say, for example, the narcissistic kid wants to be around people, okay, it's like wanting to go to the grandparents' house because the word is going to be yes all the time. What do you think happens? Okay, you think, if you're using something to try to get the child to do something, to gain some sort of influence over the child, if you're using, a toy or whatever, is that going to change anything? No. I mean, it might motivate them to do something, but for the wrong reasons. You understand that? I mean, they're all about supply sources, so it's not. There's no empathy, there's no connection, there's no empathy, there's no respect, there's no nothing. But you'll be deceived into thinking that something's changing when it's really not. So that's why you talk about learning theory. Why these ideas bottom out? It's relational. It's because it's a relational issue. Dogs are relational beings. So you just can't apply some abstract idea or methodology to something and ignore the relational issue. Okay, you might not want to see it or you might not understand it, but I show very clearly it's there. And how do you know it's there? Because you bring it right back, and it's like doing a litmus test. You apply it to a dog's decision-making process, which I do. So you see the behavior issues all resulting. You think about behavior issues, what they represent. It's all an expression of power at certain levels. And people that, people that talk about dominance and how dogs are taking over the world, again, you get that ridiculous type of talk because, that they themselves are, have some sort of issue going on where it's just like permissive parenting. They'll go after, because again, this is very interesting, they'll go after, just like in permissive parenting, the permissive parent will go after the other spouse that's trying to, say, fix the child or put authority over the child. The permissive parent will attack. They'll try to sideline or quarterback the child for all the wrong reasons. Okay, because it's kind of like self-love. They're enabling and they're doing things to stop it. And people get divorced over this stuff. I mean, it's amazing. That's why dogs are such a mess at this level too. It can cause issues in people's relationships with their significant other, because what they do is they're fueling off that. And so, the issue with the permissive type of dynamic is it follows the same path. It's just as destructive, and in the end, it causes the same problem. I mean, the issue doesn't get fixed. The child escapes, so to speak, until they never really truly escape. I mean, they're going to deal with authority, at some point, or they're going to be a totally just, their life is going to be in ruin, so to speak. But that's what's happening right now in society. So this is a very difficult issue. I mean, the first thing that people have to come to is a realization that it's real, and that that they have to break free from. It's a type of bondage almost that can just totally take your legs out, because there's certain dynamics, there's certain interplays there. That's why the stuff with learning theory is such a problem, so problematic, because it's self-focused. It's about feelings and emotions of the dog owner. And so if I see certain things from the surface, like the dog's moving around in these controlled environments, it's going to meet my criteria that I have established, and I'm going to reject everything else. So but I'll ignore other stuff too. That's why when the rubber meets the road and I go hit the street with my dog, and then I'll have to write everything off, say, oh, it's instinctive behavior, and the dog's this, dog's that. I get to lay blame somewhere. But in the end, what's happened is the dog was never role changed. Okay, there was no relational shift taking place. Then I'm still into a control situation. I'm controlling a problem. I'm not changing it, and that's why so many dog owners feel blindsided, because you can put up fences and gates and walls, but sooner or later somebody's gonna get bit, and it won't be you, because you're the one that's creating the problem in the first place. You're following a certain script, so you're no challenge to the role. The dog's objectifying you. Emotional people or children come in, the same thing. It isn't going to fix anything. It's just going to create a worse situation, and sooner or later some personality type or something's going to happen. That dog's going to lash out, and that's what happens. But it was there all along, just because of the dynamics at play. Just like in permissive parenting, that's how it ends. It doesn't end well for anybody. So anyway, just something to think about. I know this is a very difficult issue. If you want help, you contact me anytime. My whole thing is to not just to be critical. Understand that the first thing is you have to face off to the truth, and the truth is very, very challenging for some people. But my whole philosophy is, once you get them to that point of accepting help, then it's not about being negative and criticism to make them feel bad. It's about you have to understand something. You got to take down what's there first, because you can't build on a cracked foundation. So you got to remove that foundation, that relational foundation that's causing the problem, before you can build up on a solid foundation. So you got to tear down what's there, and then you build the person up. So that's how this is. It's about building people up, about giving people confidence, encouraging them. Because I know that how difficult this is, because of these interplays and the relational part of this. It can be very, very deceiving. There's a lot of deception in this. You have to understand the relational connection issue to be able to see what it is, to understand where that person's at, and I'm able to do that. And so if you need help, you can contact me anytime. My books are available: Beyond the Leash Dog Psychology Training Guide. That book is my basic psychology guide. That's available on Amazon Kindle, Barnes & Noble, or directly through my website. It's got lots of photos. It will get you going. And the other book I have called Mind and Body Connection, that's the part of the relational part where I break apart the science of dog training. I show learning theory. I kind of shine the light on it to show exactly why these ideas break down for people. So there's some hard truth in there, but it is the truth, and it's going to challenge people, but I lay it all out. I lay the evidence out, I show it. And so if you're interested in understanding, the whole thing about learning theory and what does that represent, I put it out in there. I'm not saying, dogs don't connect dots, relational dots. That's kind of how I more coin it than saying about learning, because again, it's all psychology. It's all about relational. So you have to really get a sense of the mind or the thinking process and be able to fit it in the right relational context. So again, my other book, Mind and Body Connection, is available. Encourage you to check those books out. Also have a members area of my site where there's extra videos there for members only. You can check out that option as well. And again, thanks very much for watching. Hope you have a great day.